All right, here we go. We are officially being live streamed here at Red or Green Books. Welcome, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. Super excited to have everyone. Welcome to Red or Green Books. We have P. Vance, Shaki G, Nancy Helgeson in the room, and of course our book club author of the month, Stephanie Eisler. Vance is in the room, y'all. Let's go. So excited to be talking with Stephanie again and to be seeing her book. I love publishing these posts. We really become friends. It's a journey, and not just colleagues, but we really get to know each other pretty well. And so it's always nice to welcome them back to Author Talk and get to kind of touch base with them and see where they're at. But her book, Made of You, is available at redorgreenbooks.com, Red, R-E-A-D. This month you can get a $5 coupon, so don't forget that. The coupon code is Vance, V-A-N-C-E, and that'll get you $5 off. It'll take that off either the shipping or the book, but either way it'll get you $5 off. So her book's only $10, practically free. You definitely want to get this book. A couple of quick announcements for those who maybe are not so up to date on what the events are. We have an incredible New Mexico Poetry Summit coming up here in September here in Albuquerque, and I'm gonna do this thing real quick. I'm gonna mute, since we have extra people coming in the room today. I'm gonna go ahead and just make a mandatory mute across everyone. Hang on one sec. And then I'm not going to allow people to unmute just in case anyone's mic happens to be off, but I will go ahead and invite Steph to unmute, and that way she can be at least unmuted for this. But all right, let's go. Zoom, right? Zoom, sometimes you just kind of got to tighten things down, especially when it's not an open mic, when it's a one-woman show basically today. All right, so we have the New Mexico Poetry Summit coming up here in September 8th, 9th, and 10th. It is a 3-day summit. Friday is a free open mic at a local brewery here. Saturday is a full day summit. We have 23 featured readers, most of them flying in from outside New Mexico, Canada as well. Some heavy hitters, some big names. We'll also be doing workshops, so you don't want to miss out. Tickets are only $25 right now, but August 1st, they go up to $50, 50. Even $50 would be worth it for the lineup that we have put together for you for September. Sunday is a VIP champagne show with the women of Tesoro. So that is a separate location. That is only $20 for the VIP champagne show. We will be in Las Vegas, Nevada in October, the end of October for the book festival. My RGB poets, that information will be going out soon. If you wanted to come to Vegas, sign up to read at the booth like we did in New York last year. It was so much fun. All right, next month's book club, we have Pell Zingel. Pell is one of our international poets. He is from Denmark, and his great book is just, you got to get it. Mental Hard Disk X-rays. It's just awesome. His book is phenomenal, and it's a digital book, so that is a unique, fun thing that we get to do with a lot of our international authors. You get an instant digital book from them, so you don't have to worry about paying shipping. All right, don't forget, please like, share, subscribe, follow to The Word Is Right, as well as Red or Green Books everywhere social media is, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, so that you can be in the know when we have incredible authors like Stephanie Eisler Vance coming and sharing her work with us. I met Steph last year, a year before actually, during COVID on Instagram, and she just blew me away. And like, of course, her handle was just really funny, and I like to make faces and goof and have a great time. And so I was like, I think this is a woman I'm really like gonna get to know and become friends with. And then found out she didn't have a book, and I was like, oh my God, we gotta fix that. So many incredible poets did not have books, and she said yes. She said yes to the dress and got her book done. And last year we published it in our 2022 debut poets launch, and it of course was awarded awarded a nomination, I should say. Was nominated for the Pushcart Prize for her book last year. It's an incredible book, and I'm going to let her kind of talk a little bit today about her story, about her book, where she came from, how all of this came about, and then she'll go into a set, and we'll finish up today with a Q&A. The show's about an hour, so if you have questions you would like to ask Steph, you're welcome to drop them in the chat. She can choose to to answer them or not. She does not have to answer any questions she does not want to answer. So she does have full privileges with that. But hi, Steph. Welcome to Book Club. How has it been since your book has been published? Like how is life going?
Life is good. I think the book continues to be a real source of pride. It's a real kind of tangible piece of evidence of my work being in the world in some form. Um, I think I've spent a lot of time writing for myself. And this was a huge step in introducing myself to readers, introducing some really vulnerable and uh, delicate topics that are near and dear to me, or I struggle with, or are important to me. Um, and it was a at times kind of a tenuous process. But I came out the other side and I feel stronger on the other side, and I feel ready for the next challenges. And that this gave that to me.
Yeah, right. It's like if you could do a book, you could do anything, right? It's
Right.
like one of those things that perhaps seemed like so far away, or I'll do it next year. I'll start thinking about it later. I'm not ready yet. I don't know if I can do it yet. I don't have time to do it. Like all the excuses that we put in the way of kind of freedom and liberation, and also legacy work. It's the legacy work. This is your book. Like, you put it together. It's yours. No one can ever take away your book from you. Like, you have it. It's yours. It's put together. Like, it is something that will always be for you. And that's the legacy work. We talk a lot about legacy work here at Red or Green Books, and making sure that we're telling our story, because every story is valid and there's no one who can tell your story but you. The graveyards are full of books that never made it to print, right? And so and it just your book really blew me away. You blew me away. You've been such a joy to work with. The book was just stunning, and it was a privilege and honor to publish you, and I can't wait to see what happens next for you. I'm so glad that you're part of the Red or Green Books family, and that we're on this journey through life now, right? Through publishing, being an author. That's such an awesome thing. And then remember, the 2021 poets kind of paved the way for the 2022 poets, which is, your group. And then you all paved the way for the 2023 debut poets. People like Shaki G, who's in the room right now. That's her book on the screen, In Lieu of Flowers, right? So seeing so many people do it first, and helping kind of like iron out, pave the road, if you will, iron out the kinks, make it tangible, something that's possible. All of you are doing that for the next poets, and so that legacy work is also ingrained in what we're doing as an organization. Where are you from, and what other things are you into outside of just poetry or writing?
Sure. Let's see. I live in Brooklyn. I've lived in Brooklyn. It's going to be actually my 10-year anniversary in like 2 weeks. So I'm actually trying to figure out, like, should I do something to celebrate the occasion? Um, but I mean, I've lived in and around New York most of my life. But in Brooklyn, in the same apartment for almost 10 years now. It is a rainy, 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 dreary day. So I'm happy to be inside with you all. Um, and in terms of stuff I like to do outside of writing, I mean, I do all sorts of stuff. I consider myself an artistic dabbler. So I do a little dance, I do a little piano, I do a little singing, I do a little painting. I don't consider myself to be um, really expert at any of those things, but I get great pleasure and joy out of them. I also like to go on really long walks, like hour and a half long walks. I feel for one thing, it's a source of exercise that I can tolerate. And for another thing, it really helps me kind of clear my head and lets me listen to audiobooks. I've been getting into audiobooks,
Ooh, awesome.
um, just like reading for pleasure. I do a lot of reading for my work, um, but have a hard time carving out reading for pleasure time. So that's when I get to do that.
And I think so much because our books, and I say our books, like poetry books, they're not like 400-page novels, and you can read a poem and digest it, and or read a couple and then go do something, or you could read one and it just like smack you in the face.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the quality over the quantity is packed in poetry books. And so certainly people, I think, read this a lot for pleasure, and it's much easier for people to conceive reading a poetry book than like a huge novel,
Yeah.
simply because of the time, right? And you gotta love to walk in New York City. Like, holy moly, my dad was born in Harlem, but I'd never really been. I mean, I'd been to New York City once on a layover, and we took the train to Times Square, but like in the middle of the night. I never really saw the city until I came to New York for the summit. And it was amazing. And Brooklyn was the only borough I didn't get a chance to go to, other than Staten Island. I didn't get to Staten Island either, but at least
Oh,
Staten Island is considered a borough. Uh, but I really want to go. I want to go to Carroll Gardens. There's a bunch of places I want to be go and check out in Brooklyn. So next time I come to New York, I want to try to stay in Brooklyn,
yeah, you
and
got to let me know. I'll show you around a little bit.
that would be wonderful. And I'm a huge foodie. I'm a major foodie. So like I could totally come for a week and just eat New York City.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was staying with Ron Mark Thompson for a couple days before the summit, and I took him to places in the city that he never went to, he never stopped at, he never checked out, right? And I'm like, no, I read about this place. I've seen this place. I want to try this place. And so it's so much fun. If you're a foodie, like, let's go. Even if you're not a foodie, let's go. But
Yeah,
New York
I'm
has
down.
some
Let's do
incredible
it.
places. All right, so excited. Yeah, we'll definitely plan another New York trip. Next year, we're thinking either Miami or Chicago.
Fun.
This year's Las Vegas or LA. It just depends upon where we're at next year and how things kind of progress. But Miami, Charlotte, Chicago, Detroit now. We should do Pittsburgh because of Shockey, and then LA for sure are on the list of places we're looking at reserving at events to try to go and hit. So it's super exciting. New York is definitely a must go back to.
Gotta.
Um, so many great New York poets. All right, so we're gonna rock and roll this. I'm gonna let Steph do her set. 20-30 minutes, anywhere in there you want to go. You're welcome to take us at any pace. There is, oh good, here comes Terry Rose Dirtson, another one of our 2022 debut poets. She's awesome in her book. Feel free to take us anywhere you want. There is no censorship on this show outside of hate speech. You're welcome to say anything you like. There are not necessarily trigger warnings required here, so please understand you may hear things that may bring things up for you. And if you need to mute your computer, your device, step away, that's okay. We understand. We won't take it personally, and we'll hold that space for you. But please understand that this is a live poetry event, and lots of things can happen and be said. If you have questions for Steph, you're welcome to drop them in the chat. She can choose to answer them or not. That's okay too. And then we'll come back after her set, do a little Q&A, and she can tell me no also. That's okay. Don't feel like you can tell me no
Yeah,
if
let's
you
do
don't
it.
want to answer
Do it.
me.
I'm game.
But yeah. All right, so take it away. I'm going to spotlight you real quick. And yeah, thank you so much, Stephanie Eisler.
Thank you, Marissa. Hi, everyone. Before I start reading, I wanted to give just kind of a quick little more of a background on what this book is all about and how it came together. It came together a little bit backwards because I wrote most of the material not imagining it in book form. But then, as Marissa mentioned on an Instagram live, she brought up this opportunity of putting a book together. So I had to now go back and take a look at my work as a whole and try to organize it somehow, give it some sort of organizing principle. And what I landed on was this title, Made of You, which is about, the people and the experiences we come across in our lives. We then internalize, they become a part of us, and we carry them with us throughout our lives, for better and for worse, right? There are some really wonderful experiences and some really wonderful people who do wonderful things for us, and then maybe some people who hinder us in some way or change us, and it challenges us to rise above or push through, or however you want to describe it. So the book is divided into 3 parts, kind of in this theme of I am made of people, places, things. The first part is mind, the second part is body, and the third part is heart. I'm going to be reading poems from each of these parts, in the order in which they appear, just because it makes the most sense to me. So let's go. We're in the mind section, which is very much influenced by my experience with bipolar disorder. I was diagnosed bipolar in 2006, and I have written in poetry and in prose extensively about it. I would credit it with actually the reason I became a writer in the first place. So this poem is called Crisis Plan. There is never a convenient time to plan for the worst, to plan for a life out of its mind, a crisis plan, my own mental health constitution, a living, breathing document for when my constitution will not cooperate. A good time to write it does not exist. I drafted a mental document in real time not long ago, brain on fire, woman on wire, a balancing act I am slowly learning to master. I, writer, relish the opportunity to chronicle good judgment, true self-care, the kind of mindfulness that must acknowledge a delusion and have the fortitude to let it dissipate to a memory. I, person, cannot be brought to memorialize that which occurred without my consent, and I never want to do again. But if history is any indicator, I will. Choosing maturity, choosing life means planning. I've never been much of a planner. What are goals when my mind consistently gets in the way? Defeatism perpetuating the cycle it created. The best time to write this plan is in the immediate wake of a crisis. Can I not take a moment to rest? Am I not allowed 1 second to simply appreciate hard-won sanity, this newfound control over the uncontrollable? Still, I write. Keep it simple, stupid. I know what I need to say. I say it to you as my witness in this pact with myself. A piece of paper is just a piece of paper, easily lost or disregarded. A sacred document can be neither. So here goes. Breathe. You got this. You will not feel this way forever. Those gorgeous, twisted thoughts are telling you something, but you do not always have to listen, breathe, move, create, but stop when it starts to hurt. You will not feel this way forever. You got this. Put the phone down when the bad thoughts start to turn. Ice your face when it starts to burn. Maybe go easy on the coffee. There are people you trust and they will do anything for you. Remember that. Eat whenever, whatever the hell you want. Just make sure you eat. Sleep whenever the hell you want. Just make sure you sleep. Your meds are your allies. Soak in the sun. You will not feel this way forever. You are power itself. Grace under pressure. Your savior is you. You got this. And if you don't, you will know, and you will know who will. You will not feel this way forever. Breathe. You got this. So that's that one. Next up, instability. I made up a word. Poetic license. Before 2020, I enjoyed 10 years of what we in the biz call stability. This was a big deal. The previous 5 had been marked by more than a few deviations from sanity, and those 10 years allowed me to live my best approximation of a normal life. But it also gave me the desire for more, the belief that more was possible. So I stepped off a cliff into the unknown, and before I could set my feet, my stability smashed into 1,000 pieces on the shore. They don't tell you about the fragility of stability, its rigidity, the brittle, tenuous construction of docility stability offers. Don't rock the boat. Don't step onto it at all on the off chance that you might drown. Do not leave this protective shell we've created for you. Is it enough to say, I'm stable? Wow, feels great to be stable. What a victory. What a coup. And it is. But it is not enough. Stability is smallness, an apology. I am as big as the universe herself, and I apologize for nothing. Stability lacks passion, makes an enemy of the self. True stability is unattainable anyway, and not in that sexy kind of way. Its shame-ridden binary reduces broad spectrum to black and white, healing to inertia. I no longer wish to be stable. Now, I hope for balance. Balance is within my grasp, a fluid state, elastic and adaptable. I cannot stop the storm from coming, but I can choose how to ride it out. To be stable is to cower in the basement. To be balanced is to tend to your home when the rain seeps in, to not panic at the sound of every thunderclap, to understand that the storm will eventually pass. My storms are made less ferocious, less fearsome when I'm not so afraid of loud noises, when a deviation does not mean failure, just requires an adjustment to barometric pressure. To live in balance is to live on hard mode, but I am not afraid of hard rain, hard days, hard feelings. I am afraid of being so delicate a piece of me gets washed away with the slightest change in the tides. I would much rather be wave than shore. The mountains can have their stability. I am the sea. Marissa, I know I need to maybe explore some audio options. I think that's right.
I know that we're going to be working on doing clips and a lot of reels for social media for our poets. So, because we're gonna start rocking and rolling with that. We also are looking at a syndicated radio slot. So I am excited to try to hopefully be bridging into audio opportunities for poets who are in good standing with the press to be able to move into the next thing, the next thing being the digital world, right? So it's super exciting. And just your voice, like everyone is so unique in this, in like there's no two poets the same. here. And so everyone on audio, I feel like I'm walking in New York City as I'm listening to you. Like, I love it. Now y'all know why she was pushcart nom. Just wait, she's just getting started.
Okay. I am going to read this next one, kind of like a call to arms as it relates to stigma around mental illness, and in particular, the word crazy. It's called Call Me Crazy. Like any other word, say crazy enough times, it loses its meaning. Meaning, the power in a word is its scarcity. Scarcity, a relative concept, relative to any other word. Circular logic does not stop words from becoming weapons, though, and a weapon's power is its abundance. If the power in a word is scarcity and abundance, what does that make crazy? You could say, I'm crazy. You could say, my brain broke long ago and will spend a lifetime repairing itself. You could say, I feel too much, think too much, ask too much, am too much, and not enough, all at the same time. Some days I would agree with you. I hear it from those who do not hug their bros out of homophobia, from people who have never known the kind of pain that sears and then just stays. Or who, when a friend is in real trouble, put their hands in the air, not my problem. You could also say calling me crazy is hurtful and unfair. You could say you are not your thoughts, as in distance myself from them, as if disavowing something so foundational is healthy in the first place. You could say you are enough, as if enough is ever enough, as if enough should even be part of the conversation, just another exercise in relativity. Let's talk about what we don't talk about when we talk about crazy. Let's talk about toxic positivity, or a cultural dependency on stimulants. Can we talk about our phones now, please? Here, some pocket paranoia. You can have it as a treat. Never before has so much anxiety fit in such a small space, a true technological marvel, benefiting the shareholders and the power brokers while leaving the highly sensitive holding the bag. Let's talk about that look. I tell you my story, I see pity in your eyes. But to tell my story is to stand in my power. I am a warrior. You aspire to the bravery I know. I house a parasite, a ticking time bomb for the rest of my life. I just walk around with that shit, peer into the gates of hell and say, no, thank you. Claw my way back to the surface, hungrier for the fresh air each time you don't know guts. That look, is it pity or fearful awe? I can only tell you my story because I have put in the work. I look just like you. That sounds like an awful lot of work. I'm crazy to believe it is not all bad, that something beautiful lives there, something worth nurturing. I'm crazy to believe my diagnosis is not my destiny. I am crazy to believe. Call me crazy if you want. What you call crazy, I call abundance. I have things you could never dream of. If that scares you, that's your problem. Words do have meaning and they can be dangerous. So I am reclaiming the weapon you stole from me. You cannot have it back. Thanks. I see the wild gesticulation. I love it.
Let's go. Let's go. Do you want I can give you verbal cheering. Woo, let's go. I know it's kind of weird, right? In these rooms, there's not, everyone's muted on purpose because I don't want anyone interrupting her. So I feel like bad when I interrupt her, but I can tell you, yay, if you want.
I love applause. I'll just say
All
that.
right.
I love applause.
All right. Well, I'll let everyone unmute after your set and cheer you on then. How about that? Okay.
Okay. This next one came out of me in rage. This is a rage-based poem. And before I tell you the title, I'm going to read, there's a dedication, a short dedication to it. And bear in mind, this was written over a year ago. So things have evolved since then and not in a great direction. So this is dedicated to the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Fifth Circuit, 5 members of the U.S. Supreme Court, and the 87th legislature of the state of Texas. The list continues to grow. It's called When I Say I Do Not Want Children. My body wants to bear children. My body wants to bear children so badly it will latch on to the tiniest seed of possibility and it will grow a garden of it. I know this because it has tried. The body wants what it wants. It does not lie. It is not a lie, though, to say I do not want children. I have imagined holding a tiny human to my chest, gentle sway and low hum, what a hummingbird heartbeat that I made beating out of time and against my skin would feel like. I have imagined this. I have imagined all manner of things. It is not a lie to say I do not want children. When I say I do not want children, I mean there is not a man alive I would trust to be my baby daddy, which you could call a me problem, but me, us, him, them, what exactly is the difference? The men I have known, the men who refuse to grow up, get up, sack up, put up, shut up. Is this something we can legislate? The men who enjoy parts of me but will not take responsibility for the whole because it is too vast to consume, who say, I don't feel anything with this on. Can't we just keep going anyway? Who do not know what to do, so do nothing. They do not know that nothing too is a choice, something a kinder option, but even the best laid plans of trust and support fall short when one of us is now eating for 2. When I say I do not want children, I mean there is a gulf between my head, heart, and body. It is not possible to close. Who gave you the mystical powers to press that gulf shut from all the way over there? The audacity force life as anything other than torture, a bounty on heads of women in Texas, not an outrage against their dignity. Let's add that one to the Geneva Conventions. Oh, wait. We already did. Prohibited cruel treatment and torture, prohibited outrages upon dignity, in particular humiliating and degrading treatment. Have you not noticed yet? It is always wartime, and guns are not the only weapons available to the state. To you, I may only be a vessel for your lust or your children, parts eclipsing the whole entirely, but a new moon is still the moon after we have blocked its light. The moon is unbothered. It can serve the ocean either way, but you are no ocean, and I am bothered. Put in a language you might better understand, I do not serve at the pleasure of your needs, sir. At this impasse in our civil discourse, I propose these new bans. 1, if you do not have a uterus, you do not get to have an opinion on what we do with them. You have abused that privilege and we are taking it away. 2, if you find yourself having an opinion on a person's thoughts, feelings, or actions towards their own uterus, stop right there and reread number 1. Yes, this one is redundant, but you were staring at my tits when I read it the first time, so I thought it might bear repeating. 3, why are you so obsessed with my uterus, man? It's weird. Does it scare you? I have been scared. For one, I have been scared to open my mouth. Perhaps the fear is the point, but I am not afraid out of shame. I am afraid that when I open my mouth, I unleash a swarm of bees that matches my fury note for note, and then God help us all. A boon for the ecosystem, though that may be, must I continue to tear open my insides to prove to you I am human. I have been scared. I stay scared that to criminalize choice is to heat up that water just a few more degrees, the alone, the underserved, manipulated in the boiling pot closer to death. Life without choice is exactly that. My body wants to bear children, but is that enough for you to take control of this body, this life, pro-life for whose life? Does it help you somehow to play the dystopian villain? Does your God know you have been cosplaying as him? And do you actually think he likes it? I mean it when I say I do not want children. And what I mean is this: whether I do or do not, today or tomorrow, what I do with my body is absolutely none of your business.
God damn, let's go. Let's go. Tell me how you really feel, Steph.
Yeah, I pulled some punches on that one, didn't I?
Yeah, I love it. Let's go.
Okay, I think, let's see. I think I'll do 2 more. Do I have time for 3, like short ones?
Oh yeah, you can totally, yeah, totally.
Okay.
Let's go. Because they're all, yeah, you got time.
Let's go. I hope with the Zoom this one comes through okay, because there are a couple lines that I sing on this next one. It's called Ode to Fiona, and it's an ode to Fiona Apple, the singer-songwriter, who is my kind of personal goddess woman, just the ultimate for me. So yeah, this is Ode to Fiona, and the lines that I sing are actual lines from her songs. Ode to Fiona. The boys thought they knew what she meant. I've been a bad, bad girl. The boys only wanted to watch the music video, knee-high socks, cotton briefs, heroin chic. They thought it was about sex at 13. I saw it was about loneliness. Only girl in the room with her eyes wide open, too wide open, crawling out of her skin at the thought of the room she had found herself in. Radiohead, but make it sultry. Tori Amos, but make it nubile. Fiona Apple had all the makings, but Fiona Apple did not want to be your fantasy. Fiona Apple wanted to corner, battle, exorcise the demons that pulled her to the piano to begin with. The boys did not know and did not care that those were her hands banging away. When she declared, "This world is bullshit," they laughed. This is not a thing coquettes say. What do you mean she doesn't want it? Fiona Apple wanted some peace of mind. I read once that after her first album, she spent a full year just walking the property of her home, just walking. You may see a waste of time, but at the time I saw romance, the platonic ideal of artists. Now I recognize there is nothing romantic about weariness, betrayal, heartbreak. Fiona Apple wanted to be loved. She wanted you to love her and tell her so. Such wasted, unconditional love. Please be good to me before you're gone. Forgive me if I borrow a line from time to time. It is hard to make a poem about her, not also about me. I see by the grace of her tone, sometimes years after I already know it in my bones. Fiona Apple, my own personal atlas, it weighs a ton, but Fiona Apple makes this make sense. Fiona Apple still wants to corner, battle, exorcise the demons that pulled her to the piano to begin with. I can hear it in her voice, mellifluous and raw. Fiona Apple still wants some peace of mind. I can hear it in her voice as clearly as I hear it in my own. Fiona Apple still wants to be loved. Andrew in my 7th grade music class did not want to hear that, but I did. I am still here. And why were we ever framing everything by what the boys say anyway? Fiona Apple is still fucking here reaching for what is hers. And if you have been paying any attention at all, Fiona Apple was right.
It sounded lovely too. Don't worry. It was beautiful.
Thank you. I'm glad. Okay, 2 more. I should have noted that when I say I do not want children was in the body section of the book, and that piece was heart. So now the rest of it is all in the heart section, just to keep everybody oriented. This piece, I think of it as one of my more like fun, light pieces, but it actually does get quite heavy in some parts. But I think it's cute and funny. So my version of cute and funny anyway. It's called All My Exes. All my exes watch my stories on Instagram. I scroll past their names with one question. Why? My exes do not talk to me, but boy, do they like to watch. All my exes watch my stories on Instagram. Even my first 6th grade, 3 weeks until an abrupt break, a girl a week for the rest of the year. Even the one who broke my heart the worst. My exes, it seems, are finally paying attention. The last time I went crazy, I imagined them all in a room together with a live feed to my every move, meddling in my day-to-day, patting each other on the back, a point system, perhaps. Consummate down girl I am, I played my part. It's an art to play people right back. In the end, ghosts of my past had no real control, the memory of each only reminding me I was right to let them go. But still, I wondered which one of them won the game. And now, all my exes watch my stories, which might be a trigger if it wasn't so predictable. Most of these men are happily married, supposedly happily, supposedly men. All my children, more like it, gasp along to reuse storylines and ill-kept secrets, the derivative soap opera that has been my love life. Maybe I should set up a live feed, at least maybe then I might get paid. My exes like to watch, but I still don't know why. Are these curiosity taps, guilt taps, regret taps, love taps? My mind reels in exactly the way the algorithm wants, and part of me likes it. My exes like to watch. I have no interest in returning the favor. Love is not a game. What comes after is, and fantasy is a stronger force than we like to admit. But I do take just a little pleasure in admitting in this game, I think I won.
Whew, let's go, Steph. Yes. My exes like to watch. Motherfuckers watch me.
Okay, I'm gonna do one more. This is the last piece in the book, and it's actually, I think, the last piece I wrote for the book when I already knew I was writing a book, I guess. Most of this was before that. Um, but it felt kind of incomplete. And I think this piece brings it full circle in a way that you will understand if you read the whole book. So go read the whole book. This is called Like Lightning. Only very few things happen suddenly in nature. Most take freaking forever, like a flower blooming or a child becoming an adult, or maybe that is just another kind of blooming. The bloom is patient, distressingly so, all that time to sit and wait. But there are a very few things that happen suddenly, like lightning or falling in love. Or maybe that is just another kind of lightning. And lightning, like all things that happen in a flash, takes you by surprise. Even when it is pouring outside, you never know when lightning will strike, which sounds obvious enough, even as a metaphor for falling in love. But I had always thought of love as a gradual build, such a patient bloom, a feeling that develops over time. That was how I experienced love the first time, and that love was all I knew for so many years. But unrequited love isn't love at all, a fact I chose to ignore over those years and longer. Unrequited love is death by Venus flytrap. It gets you quick, then devours you slow. The real thing, oh, the real thing to know, the real thing to catch lightning in a bottle and preserve its brilliance. Boom, pow, to one day have quick enough hands. I do not consider myself an expert on the subject of love or any other kind of lightning, but I know now that it is lightning. Like lightning, love just happens without warning or fanfare. Blink and you miss it. Accepting love is what takes the longest, the blooming involved, the painstaking work of allowing yourself to be seen in the process, to know when to reach for a thunderbolt and when to sow those ever-loving seeds. That is a skill I am still hoping will come. But I'm getting closer. Can you tell?
Let's go. Let's go. Let me go ahead and invite everyone to unmute their mics and give it up for the one and only Stephanie Eisler Vance. Oh my
Thank
God.
you,
Let's go.
everybody.
What an amazing set. I mean, really, it's the whole spectrum of humanity in your work, which is just so wonderful. And it's, you know, it's really important. When you were reading, you know, the piece about when I say I don't want to have children, and I love that poem. It hit me, gut punched me when I was reading your book, and we have to remember the historical reason why we are writing, because things change, and to go back and document, yes, okay, it's, you know, that was then, but then of course now we're still kind of wallowing away in so much of that, and that's still such a contentious topic and debate, and it may be through the generation of my children into their children, I don't know. But as poets, as writers, as artists and authors, it's important for us to document what's happening in the world around us, so that it doesn't get lost. People don't forget that we continue to speak on the things that we're writing about.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I was writing that poem, um, it was with an understanding that it was an evolving situation, right? Um, I mean, in the dedication, like the list continues to grow. It opens up for that, right? It allows for that. And I think I tried to write it like there's some details in there about the specific situation in Texas with the abortion ban that kind of catalyzed all of what came next. Um, but you know, the details may change, but the point stands, right?
Yes. Absolutely. And I mean, how we feel about it doesn't change. And, people who aren't even born yet may read your book one day and be like, wow, wow. And so it's important that we're doing, ourselves justice. Red or Green Books is a female forward press. We publish a majority of women and those who identify as women, also LGBTQ and groups of people that are historically marginalized and stigmatized. So it's really important for us to um, put that in our work so that we're being able to become part of the solution. So when people don't know what to do, this is something that we can do. And what you can do is buy her book, right? Buy her book, Made of You, by Stephanie Eisler Vance. And I do have to apologize, Steph, because usually before I bring folks up here, I usually read one of their reviews. So I will do that real quick for you. Tara Boyd, who's the author of In the Past Tense, Breaking the Circle, and Paint Host. Paint Host. Or did you want the other one?
Yeah.
Leah. Okay. So Leah V is a performance poet, co-author of the Unblock Journal and Poetical, assistant producer with Inspired Word NYC. She says, I shouldn't say she, I'm not sure people's pronouns, but Leah says, Made of You is a beautifully crafted first compilation for its structure alone, and then some. Vance creates a body of work that allows us readers a physical visualization of how parts of the soul create a whole poetic evolution: mind, body, and heart. The structure of each poem is intentional and breathable. The immense vulnerability is heartbreaking and hopeful all at once. And that is one of the reviews from Steph's book. You can find the other reviews. You could find Steph's bio. You can find everything about Steph, not everything, but everything that she would let us put on the website. And for the book is available at redorgreenbooks.com. You go to Meet the Authors and you go to the 2022 authors. You can find her bio there. If you go to the reviews, go to the 2022 reviews, you can find her book and read the reviews there as well. And then if you would like to buy the book, all of the proceeds of the sale of the book during book club go straight to the author. So please bless her by buying a copy of her book. It's $5 off this month with coupon code VANCE, VANCE. You can also reach out to her. Steph makes faces on IG. And I think what other ways can people get a hold of you, Steph?
Great question. I am going to put a couple links in the chat. I'm going to put my Instagram handle and my link tree, which is in my Instagram bio, but just to make it easier, I got a couple things going on, a couple things to, if you are interested in reading. I actually late last year was published in the New York Times, published an essay in the New York Times, which I am still kind of dining out on, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it's something I'm really proud of, and I link to it in my link tree, and there's a few other things in there. And I can definitely drop that in the chat.
Awesome. And then I just wanted to finish with a couple little questions. So this whole road to being published and this road to having your book, becoming an author and all that wonderful things, what was the biggest lesson, the biggest thing that you learned during this time, during this process?
Biggest thing that I learned. I mean, I would say, so a lot of these topics that I wrote about in the book, I've been writing about for a long time in like prose form and memoir, personal essay, what have you. But I learned a lot about what poetry can access that maybe prose doesn't. Certain pockets of emotion or different connections being made. Certainly catharsis, the catharsis of writing poetry feels a lot different than the catharsis involved in writing prose. It was at times very visceral for me, especially the first poem in the book once I finished it. I mean, I kind of cried throughout the process, but like especially at the end, this sense of unburdening and this sense of wow, I have been writing about this story, this particular story for so long, but I've never been able to articulate it in this way, was a really powerful experience for me. I mean, I really, I started writing poetry a couple years ago. Like it's all very, that part is all very new for me. Um, so I think the understanding really the power that poetry has on a very personal level, really came through.
That's so true, right? It eliminates, if you can tap into that, right? Not everyone can do that, and sometimes there's a lot of work that needs to be done to be able to tap into that. But it's a very
True.
freeing, right? Even if you, I always tell people, like, even write a poem to yourself. Write it to yourself and burn it afterwards. You don't ever have to share it with anyone, but at least start the process, right? At least start the process of freeing up yourself to being able to speak to yourself, to being able to get whatever is inside out, to being able to process and work through things, because then you might engage someone else to share it, and then that might lead to further sharing, further healing, further growing. It really is very freeing and liberating to be able to just take a pen and a piece of paper and write something down, even if it means you're going to burn it after. You don't ever have to share it, right? That really is very liberating for people to put something down physically and see it and to write it, because it starts the process of opening yourself up and working a lot of stuff out. So the catharsis that you talk about, right? That's
Yeah.
that happens a lot. Two more things, real quick. What was your absolute favorite thing? What was the absolute favorite thing that happened that you love about this whole thing?
I mean, there was so much I loved about it. I think, down to the kind of logistical details, like working on the cover art with my friend Taylor Battle, she's incredible. Um, seeing her, I had kind of a vision of about what I wanted it to be, and she just brought it to life so beautifully. Um, and and then things like, I had a bunch of pre-orders, right? And I had a once I got the books, I was able to just make it a project, like kind of an assembly line of just, okay, I need to, however many it was, 60 or 80, whatever the number was. Um, and like block out time and just with care, like pack up these books and send them off. And the feeling I got sending them off was really wild. It was like this is not the totality of who I am, but this is a piece of me. And
Right.
I'm sending a piece of me out into the world to who knows what kind of reaction, right? And who knows what somebody will take from it, what line will strike somebody. It's funny. One of my best friends read the book and was drawn to a particular line in a poem that I felt a little queasy about, actually. And the line she picked was like, it felt at the time like a throwaway line, just like, oh, that, okay, this came out of me, whatever, this'll do, right? And she keeps reminding me of that line. And I just find it very interesting what people gravitate towards and what people take away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never know. You never know what people are going to hold on to and what they're. So yeah, just put it all out there. As things are going to stick, the right people are going to come across at the right times, and it's going to really hit home. And the last thing I wanted to ask you was, do you have any tips? Tips for people who are considering publishing a book, writing poetry? Maybe someone's never even written poetry before. You know, we all have lives, right? We all have lives, very, very busy schedules, careers, jobs, family, right? Whatever. We
Yeah.
all have lives, but you managed to get this incredible book written, assembled, and published, and it's just this great body of work. So, what is something that you would recommend for maybe the next person who is thinking about this?
Oh, so many things. So many things. I mean, in terms of inspiration and ideas, I think often, and I do this still too, um, you'll get like you'll have some idea or some thought that's like, ooh, that feels a little dangerous, right? And then you just kind of put it away because it feels dangerous and you don't really want to go there. But if you can find the bravery to like dig into that thought and maybe just start write a line and then write two lines. And then, you know, all of a sudden you might have something, right? Um, I personally, my practice right now is I do 3 pages of journaling every morning, which is good, I think, as for a number of reasons, but also kind of clearing away the junk,
Mm-hmm.
just the mundanity of, oh, today I have to do this, and I'm feeling not so great about this inconsequential thing, and you know, that sort of thing. But it also is a good canvas for me to um, kind of dig into new ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but all of that said, I mean, I'm gonna say that I'm gonna say something that um, has been told to me many times that is in some ways infuriating. Um, the only way to do it is to just keep writing, keep working, you know? Um, be bold and uh, dig for the truth and and it'll connect with somebody, you know, and it'll connect with you. And yeah, that just keep writing. That's it. That's like really that's it. That's all there
Just
is.
keep writing. Yeah, and being brave, right? You said be brave. So
Yeah.
just write something every day. Even if you think you have writer's block, you can put your hand on the table and write about how the table feels under your skin. You know, there's always things. How do the shoes feel on your feet? How's the chair feel under your seat, right? How's the breath? Is the air warm today? What does it smell like, right? Being
Yeah.
mindful of the
What's
things
going
around.
on in your body? Yeah,
How's my body
exactly.
feeling today, or how's my eyes, like, you know, pick apart and just write something about it, like you said, just write and be brave about it. Unpacking stuff's hard, but you don't have to unpack it alone, which is why we launch in groups, right? People get to launch together, and it really helps, I think, the process of everyone being together on a team and not feeling so alone during the launches.
Yeah.
So
Because it
yeah.
isn't, I mean, this was, I would say, the most vulnerable public act I've ever done.
Yes.
Um, and definitely having that group, like we were all just doing it together, was really, it was really nice.
I'm so glad. I'm so honored and excited for you, and thank you for choosing us to be on this journey with you. You know, for allowing us to kind of guide and lead the pack through the process last year. You know, it's a long process, but it's an incredible process. It's something you do once and you have a book forever. Like it's this awesome thing. So get your copy of Made of You by Stephanie Eisler Vance. Get your copy, $5 off, coupon code Vance. All of the proceeds this month go straight to Steph. So please support her. Get a copy of her book, and it'll be a signed copy, right? So she's gonna sign it and send it to you this month. Like, yeah, come on, $10 practically free plus shipping, you know, 15 total. So if you live outside the US, reach out to us, let us know. We can get you a quote on what international shipping would be. But there's no reason why someone outside the US can't get a book. We ship all over the world. So we just need to find out where you are and get that quote for you. But you can find her, Steph Makes Faces, on Instagram and Twitter. Her link tree is Steph Makes Faces as well. So go there, get hip to all the stuff she's doing. I hope you do come back again. Once a year, we do a big annual show kind of towards the end of the year for Red or Green Books and invite the authors back. And we'll see about New York. Hopefully we can get back to New York next year and do all of that. But I thank you so much, Stephanie Eisler Vance, for coming through. Please get her book Made of You. I'll invite everyone to unmute again and give her a big cheers as we close down the author talk this month. Y'all unmute your mics. Give it up for our featured reader for the month of July, Stephanie Eisler Vance. I love it. Everyone's cheering on the inside. I could feel it. Next month, don't forget, we have Pels and Gale from Denmark will be here, and we're going to be talking about his book. Get your tickets for the New Mexico Poetry Summit. If you have not done so yet, you got to get your tickets. 4, maybe 5 of the debut poets, of the 8 debut poets for 2023 are going to be here. We got 23 featured readers and workshops it's just, you got to come. If you have never thought about coming to New Mexico, please do. We are part of the U.S. We speak English. You don't need a passport if you're coming from inside the U.S. It's fine. I feel the need to say that all the time because a lot of people say I live outside. No. This is part of the United States, so please come and check us out. Redorgreenbooks.com. Red is READ, Red poetic license, right? Redorgreenbooks.com is our website. You can get Steph's book there. $5 off. Coupon code Vance. Stephanie, thank you so much for being here today for book club. Thank you all for coming to support her. All of the fellow poets from RGB, thank you for coming through and supporting her as well. I'll see you all next month. Peace and blessings. Keep your pens wet. I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Bye.